Welcome to Coaching Uncut, a special series on the Unstoppable Woman podcast, where I take you behind the scenes and give you a peek into the private coaching I do with my clients. Now, all of these coaching calls have been recorded with permission from my clients, and they have generously allowed me to share this with you as a means of furthering the good in this world and allowing you to have access to master level coaching and to learn the lessons that they're learning right along with them. So please listen in and learn. I'm super excited to share with you this next episode in the Coaching Uncut series here on the Unstoppable Woman podcast. In this episode, I'm going into what a successful sales conversation looks like. And spoiler alert, it looks like listening, but there's an art to this. And you have to know how to listen to the money stories that people bring to their buying decisions. In this episode, Heather is talking about how she does this in her business and how she does this with her mother to amazing effect. Please listen in and learn. This will change your life.
God, life goes so quickly sometimes. Well, I'm just sitting here. Struggling is a strong word, but sometimes I feel like I don't manage my time quite right. I feel like there's too much going on in a day, and it's hard for me to move through it because I feel like I'm overbooked. So that was what I was just sitting here struggling with. But but in terms of news, of course, I spoke with Mom yesterday, and I had a really interesting experience that I wanted to share with you. Remember yesterday how we talked or whatever it was, we talked and we said, how do I have this conversation? And you said, well, don't be direct. You suggested don't be directive about it. Don't say like, oh, this is what we're going to do and, be here at 3:00. Instead, ask a series of open-ended questions and see what happens. And I don't think I have ever done that with her in my life. And then just shut up and listen. Kind of like on the sales calls, like
totally. I'm nodding my head.
Right?
Yep.
Just shut up and listen. So I just said to her, look, I want to catch up with you. I set up a call with her, which is kind of unusual. So I set up a call so that, we would both be, in the right place at the right time. No fiddling around. And so I just wanted to catch up with you a little bit and talk about some things that are going to happen during the trip, just kind of get organized a little bit. And then I just kind of, talked to her about, like, the lawyer and everything. And then I just asked her, like, let me just ask you something. Like, what do you think about the idea of, we actually kind of let in about, how, the hearing issue is, like, not so good and everything. And just started warmed up to that conversation about, she acknowledged that, people need to speak clearly with her, and she acknowledged, of course, she is losing her hearing. And I just asked her, like, what would it, what do you think about, maybe the possibility of getting tested for it? What do you think about that? It wasn't a perfect conversation, but this is the first time I've ever just sort of up and asked her to tell me about something. And then I just, instead of problem solving, I just let her talk. And, like I said, like wasn't the perfect intro, but in any case, she picked up the conversation and she talked and talked and talked and talked and talked about, how she felt like she wasn't going to live that long, how she didn't think that it was worth it. If it was totally free, she would totally jump on it. And if she was a millionaire, of course she would do it. And I just listened to her, and I just was listening to all of the, all the minds, being fully aware that she has all these mindset issues about, especially about money, because I know that because I grew up with her. And how, she's not worth it, and the money's not there, it's not practical. Other people, like every single thing under the sun that you can think, other people in the world need money more than she does, and so, she's probably not going to live that long anyway. If she had $1 billion billion, of course she would do it. And that's sort of, I just let her kind of go on and on and on. And she circled around and she circled around and she circled around and then she circled around, and then she was like, yeah, maybe I should get tested.
Isn't that fascinating?
Like, oh my God, like what just happened?
Right. So let me give you some reflections on that, okay? Because it's so juicy, Heather. It's so juicy. So for one, you just had a sales conversation with your mother, okay?
Yes,
and you learned that in the sales intensive, which is great, and you're applying it everywhere because life is sales, okay?
Yeah.
And if you can get that and was this of service to your mother? Was it taking any, like people have a sense that sales is taking something, manipulating people, all of that. All you did was you asked the question, okay?
Yeah.
And then, you let her speak her truth and get to the both emotional truth and the logical truth of what was there. Now, in other cases, you might have to ask follow-up questions there, but look at what was achieved without being pushy, directive, forceful. And sometimes there's a time and a place for being direct and assertive. But right now, that was just perfectly done. It was
incredible. It was like she just unfolded in front of me. She did all the emotional stuff, all the irrational stuff, all of the subconscious stuff, and then she swung into, but on the other hand, yeah, you're right, your brothers have been, I haven't said a word, and she probably went on for a good 10, 15 minutes. I didn't say a word. I didn't even say or yeah, I know. Every so often I would say something just to make sure she knew I was still there, but and didn't, like, the call didn't drop. But she went from emotion and the subconscious thing to a rational, conscious, like, logical, like you said, like bringing it into the conscious mind. She used her intellect. It was so interesting to see her go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. The subconscious, like, oh no, I couldn't possibly. See the conscious, well, yeah, on the other hand, yeah, I might live until I'm 104. Yeah, well, yeah, but I couldn't possibly, and da-da-da-da. But, on the other hand, your brothers, have been, pressuring me to do this. And just a couple of questions here and there, and she was in. But
so fantastic.
She was in.
Right, she was in.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
you didn't have to force anything. Yeah. Right. The other big thing for you, Heather, here, for you, I mean, all of this is for you, but specifically, you saw all her financial money. I'm just going to call it bullshit, right? Like all the stories around it. Like her getting what is it called? A hearing aid.
Yeah.
Which, of course, she deserves a freaking hearing aid, right?
I know.
Became a story about money.
Yeah.
And this is what most people do. She's the norm. She's not the norm. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely 100% about how people make buying decisions. And they think that they're not worth it. And they come up with all these stories. You saw them, like, so, and you were able to articulate them to me so well. Thank you. Okay. And that now, you now know that is what is in the mind of your client. Okay. That's how most people show up, some version of that. I can't do this. I can't have this because I'm not worth it. If, what were all the things you said? If I was a millionaire, if I, all the stuff, right?
All the stuff. Yep. All the stuff.
So you didn't have to convince her. She convinced herself.
Yeah.
You asked the right questions.
Yes.
Well done, you. Congratulations.
Thank you. And
such a huge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was really an amazing experience. I'm going to think more about that and connect it, like you say, to my business world, because that's people call and they're in resistance, but they call. This is like the question that goes on in my mind. But you called. You raised your hand. You called me. So I know that you have a little bit of a want in there somewhere. You wanted something bad enough to pick up the phone and call a lawyer, which is a scary thing to do. And yet it's just like a dissonance with me that I know you want this thing. So rather than, and there's all these sort of techniques and whatever, like hard sales techniques about, and it's just, I think it might be more of letting them come to their own realization that they have to get to their own yes somehow.
100%.
Does that make sense?
100%. And in a sales conversation, like you've been on the receiving side of a sales conversation with me.
Sure.
I keep asking questions. I don't answer for you. Sometimes I'll do a little coaching, but I will just ask you a question that helps you get to your own truth.
You know what's so great about that?
You make the decision. I'm not making the decision, because if I manipulate you, if I force you into making a decision by backing you into a freaking corner, right? Like some weird, hard press sales technique. Yeah. Then I have a terrible. I'm starting off a relationship with you terribly. One, and two, you don't really want it, so you're not going to go do the work. Okay. I can't. Coaching isn't a magic bullet. Divorce law is not a magic bullet. You need the buy-in of your client. So it doesn't work. Okay. And sometimes it does work. Let's say you're selling a car, right? It's short term though. You'll never go back to that car dealership again if they're crapola to you and you feel yucky about it. Right.
Right.
We're going to take a quick pause in the teaching to tell you about the Unstoppable Woman Income Breakthrough Summit. If you're ready for your income breakthrough and want to unlock the gold mine in your mind and step into your highest earning potential, grab your ticket to the Unstoppable Woman Income Breakthrough Summit now. It's 3 days of powerful breakthrough sessions, coaching, and workshopping to get you focused on the exact steps required to create consistent cash flow and scale your life, business, and career. No more chaos or confusion. It's time for clarity, focus, and ease. It's time to really understand how manifestation and creation actually happen. I can't wait to see you there. The URL to learn more and reserve your seat before we sell out is theunstoppablewoman.com/summit. You can also find that in the show notes. I'll see you there. Now we'll get back to the teaching.
Yeah, there was such a difference between getting that sort of handshake. It came from her. It didn't come from me. So now she owns that piece. And the weird thing is, even if we didn't do that now together, she and I, when I'm there, I have a feeling she would do it on her own now. Like I'm not, like her yes came, she was able to say yes to that with such a strength. She didn't like jump up and down and say, yeah, this is a great idea. But I mean, something clicked in her. And I think that, they say like a decision's been made. Like she made her decision, not my decision, her decision. It's so much stronger than, she's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that. From if I try to sell her on something, say, okay, Mom, we're going to be here at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Well, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe we're going to have a flat tire. Maybe she's not going to show up, whatever. But this transaction was so much different, allowing her to get to that yes. Now I almost feel like she doesn't need me anymore. She could go on her own and take care of this if she took a mind to. It's such a different dynamic, like you said. It's not me driving the bus, and there's such more of a solidity about that the person who you're selling to takes that here we are with responsibility, like personal responsibility. She took in that moment, she took personal responsibility for that decision. And I feel like that makes a much stronger sale in the first place and strengthens, you start out, if you're going to be serving, like in divorce or whatever, that relationship is stronger now, because I'm not saying like it's not external. Like I'm saying, I'm telling you should do this. Like, no, you've decided you're going to do this. This is a yes for you, not for me. It's for you.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there are times where you will have to ask more questions. Okay.
Yeah. It's not always going to be that easy.
Right. But start with this as your base level perfect example of how it actually works and is so easy, Heather. That was not hard. That was not a struggle. That was not a challenge. It felt good for everyone. It was additive for everyone. It was more life for everyone. And it was not that grinded out struggle thing. It was, wow, this was a great conversation. Look at how good you feel about this as well.
I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah, I did see that.
So let this be the standard that you use for your sales calls, which leads me to how are your sales calls going?
Pretty good. I've been swamped lately with just everything. I haven't been doing a whole lot of sales calls. I just had Christina is the one who puts sales calls on my calendar, and I had her just go back over the calendar to do downloads of recordings or whatever. So it has not been a period of heavy sales in the last week or so. Been in trainings and things like that. So
is it that you haven't created space on your calendar for sales?
Yes, I'm having problems. I'm having problems on my calendar. My calendar is just booked. I'm having problems controlling my calendar. It's just
well, good that you're owning that, and that's where you started the conversation out today. So let's circle back to that. So there's tactical things that you can do here. One is, you need to be making sales. So every Sunday you can look at your calendar and figure out where you're going to block out time for sales. Okay? It can be different every week, or it can be 10 to 12 every day, Monday through Friday. It's just on there forever. Christina knows when to book calls. And if nothing's booked, you can fill that with something else. Okay? But you leave that open, and it can be whatever time you choose, 8 to 10. When are your clients most available? Pick that. Is it lunchtime? Is it 12 to 2, right? Like, pick what works. And then, make it consistent on your calendar, and then she knows when to book. It's not different every week. The choosing on Sundays, if you have to make adjustments, you can do that, and you can make it different every week, but that would be a little bit more complicated for the system that you have.
Yeah.
So make it easy. And then that's like a non-negotiable for yourself. And if it's not 2 hours, it's 1 hour, right? Like, figure out what that is. I know that you're training other people to do sales with you and for you. So that will become less and less. But right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Okay? So that's your action today, is like, you got to put this on your calendar. Okay? And then and so I think it's multiple. It's put it on your calendar, pick a time that's consistent, and then communicate it to Christina. And then check in with Christina and Tamara on how sales are going. Are they doing outreach, proactive, and are they having conversations with people? Are they making sales? What's happening there? And then I would, as the leader of the pack, if you will, put, and you might have this already, so tell me if you do, I would create a sales meeting at least once a week. Right now, because you're trying to ramp things up, you might want to bookend the week, or maybe you do Monday and Wednesday and not bookend the week. I had a adjusted thought there. So you start off the week. Here's what's on your schedule. How many people do you need to reach out to this week? Do you have the time booked?
what's your goal? Where are you in relationship to what happened last week, right? Like you're driving that. And then Wednesday, it's like a shorter check-in meeting. Are you on track? Okay. I was going to bookend it, but I want you checking up on people midweek to make sure it's not out of sight, out of mind. And then I don't think you need to do both meetings forever. Okay. People will get into a routine and either, step into being the salespeople that you need them to be or not, right? Mm-hmm. If it's not, then you need to hire someone else. And how did we leave it about Tamara? Is she better as a lawyer than a salesperson?
Yeah, she's better as a lawyer than a salesperson.
So
she's not bad.
Do you need to make that adjustment right now?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Maybe we're shifting her to actually lawyering and training up new staff. So she's focusing on timekeeping. So I feel like Christina and I probably would be better to focus on sales. Christina eventually wants to be the dragon. Okay.
So you need to make that decision. Don't delay. Okay. So tell Tamara, great that you did the sales training. Great that you started. You'll have that for the future.
Right.
I don't know if she listened to the feedback on that call from last week, but you focus over here. Christina and I are going to do sales. That means that you actually have to commit to doing sales. Okay?
I can do that.
Yeah, you're great at sales. Look what you just did with your mom. Also, okay?
I just sold my own mother.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And do you have a sales metric for this month?
No.
Okay. So that goes in your assignment. I'm not talking to you tomorrow until you can send me a text even, okay? Like, It's on my calendar. Time is on my calendar. I've communicated this to Christina and Tamara, and I have a metric, okay?
Okay.
And by metric, I mean, what's my sales goal and how many sales calls am I going to have? Okay. You have to share that with Christina too, so she knows what she needs to activate around.
And for accountability too.
Yeah. Okay. And then you and her need to have these meetings twice weekly.
Yep, I gotcha.
That's quite a few little actions there.
Okay? Yeah, it's a lot of actions.
They're not challenging. They're not going to take a lot of time. The sales metric, I mean, here's the thing. Here's what throws people off. They get to, the end of the month and they're like, we didn't bring in as much this month. Well, what happened on day 1, 2, 3, 4 to day 28, right? Don't take your eye off the ball.
Is the goal and the number of calls or the amount of money or both or a hybrid or?
It's a hybrid. So I would set a sales target, a financial sales target.
Okay.
That's a stretch, that's more than you've done before, but doesn't throw you into, if you made 80K previously, make it 90 or 100, but don't make it 160, okay? Like, make it a stretch. And it can be the same as last month if that was a big number, right? And you want to do that consistently for 3 months, that's fine too. But pick your number, get really super clear on it, okay? And then figure out, then it's a math equation. What is the average sale? What is, how many calls do I actually have to have with someone to close that sale? That means it's X number of calls, X number of potential clients, right? And then Christina knows what she has to activate around.
Oh, Christina will be so excited about this.
I love it.
She will. She's in it. She's into it. Good. Okay, great. Okay. She will definitely keep me accountable too. She will help in any way. So.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, good. All right.
I love it.
We'll talk with you at 1:30 then, right?
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Take care.
Oh boy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Take care. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Coaching Uncut. If you are loving what you are learning in these episodes, please do two things. Please share the love with another woman who you think could really benefit from this master level coaching. And second, if you're so inclined and you want to take your life and your business to the next level and it's time to scale, please reach out to us and schedule a consult at theunstoppablewoman.com/next level. So that's theunstoppablewoman.com/next level. See you in the next episode. Rock it out. Be unstoppable.